CURES is sponsored by Wheeler Health's Better Choice program. More at wheelerhealth.org.
Helping you lead a healthier life. This is Kara's Cures.
Hi, everyone. Welcome to the Kara's Cure Show, where we explore cutting-edge wellness from credible sources. I'm Kara Sundlin. I don't know if you're into astrology or if you think it's something that it's just for the comics, but I think we can all agree that we are going through an intense time and so much change is out there. So my guest today has been on the show before, and she's fascinating. I think you're going to love all of the advice she has about navigating change from the perspective of what's going on with the planets as well. Kari Samuels is an intuitive counselor and happiness coach. She has decades of experience in the healing arts. She has a great podcast called Get Psyched you might want to listen to, and a YouTube channel. And I'm happy to be with you, Kari. Thanks for being here.
I'm so happy to be with you again.
You know, I love how you take a very measured approach, because you'll always say that astrology doesn't make you do anything, but it's like the weather. We might need to understand that we're affected just like anything on Earth is affected. If the tides if the moon can control the tides, it might have an effect on us and on all the planets.
It absolutely does. And I love that you use the word navigating, because I always use that about astrology. And my husband actually was a celestial navigator in the Coast Guard, and he used the stars to help navigate the Coast Guard ships. I mean, we've been doing this for centuries.
Absolutely. Wow. Okay. So what the heck is going on with 2025? It's been a little bananas.
I always call it bananas too. It is bananas. Actually, the astrology of 2025 is more intense and wild than even what we had in 2020, because we've actually never seen anything like this in recorded history. And I'm actually surprised we're all still here. I mean, it's like there's so many changes going on. Every single planet in our solar system is changing signs this year. Every single one of them. And that's very unusual, because the outer planets, the ones farther from Earth, right, move very slowly. They have like a longer cycle. Mm-hmm. And so to have planets change signs like this, every single one of them, means that if you think about planets being archetypes that represent different parts of our lives, which is basically what it is. It's like you can look at each planet as representing something. And we talked about Mercury retrograde, Mercury being communication and transportation. So if you have every single planet with every aspect of our lives changing, that's what it feels like. Everything's just like nothing is stable. Everything's changing. It's changing too quickly for us to keep up with. And that's part of why everything feels, as we say, bananas right now.
Right. You're still smiling. I love that. You're a happiness coach and you help a lot of folks. So, you know, I don't want people to feel afraid. You know, you're not sitting here calling this some, Armageddon prediction or something like that. What do we need to understand when we say everything's changing?
Well, basically, we're all being called to do something different now. And when the outer world changes, we have to respond with changes inside of us that we change our outer world as well. But it's like there's the world and then there's our world. Mm-hmm. And so because everything's changing so quickly, I don't think it's deniable that all of us are going to have to adapt differently to such a changing world. And change is frightening. However, change is inevitable. And sometimes that can be good, because we're really being called to ask of ourselves, what do I really want? What is my purpose? Because we have to focus our energy now. And you need to focus it on what's truly important. And I think that's what we're all being called to do.
Okay. So every planet is changing. I mean, I've been reading, even if you don't follow, all kinds of astrology, even in, major newspapers like USA Today, they'll let you know when Mercury is in retrograde or the supermoons or different things. And I think the younger generation who's on social media all the time, every social media platform identifies their zodiac sign, which is just interesting. It is becoming more commonplace. And I once remember doing a story where J.P. Morgan, I quoted him when I was interviewing an astrologist, because apparently J.P. Morgan used to say, millionaires don't do astrology, billionaires do, because he always used an astrologist every time he opened a new business or a bank. So did Walt Disney. So as we maybe integrate this or even look at some of this old stuff that's becoming more commonplace now, there's always this talk about Age of Aquarius. What is that, and are we in it?
Well, sort of. It's a long cycle. And by the way, I want to remind everyone that Nancy Reagan also had an astrologer.
Yes, yes, the Reagans. Yes, yes.
And I would hardly call the Reagans like, woo-woo. But so our farthermost planet, and yes, Pluto is still a planet in terms of astrology and astronomy, I think. Pluto is about transformation and change and really unearthing very deep things. And Pluto's really, it hardly ever changes signs, right? So when last time it was in Aquarius was the French Revolution, the American Revolution. It's like 248 years. The French Revolution, approximately. The French Revolution, the American Revolution, all these revolutions happen. Pluto is a major change, like life, death, rebirth. Pluto in astrology is the lord of the underworld, right? So it's like everything that's been in the shadow comes up. Aquarius is the sign. So Pluto's the planet. Pluto's now in Aquarius as of last November, but it actually started, Pluto goes back and forth, right? So it goes into a planet and then it can retrograde for several months and then it goes back into the planet. It went back into a sign. It went for good for the next 20 years into Aquarius in November. But when it actually started was what started the AI revolution, because Aquarius is also technology. So Pluto's revolutionizing technology, also society. And Pluto's, it revolutionizes everything. So Aquarius associated with space travel, technology, society, anything that has to do with moving things forward in a very progressive way. And so when people talk about the age of Aquarius, Aquarius is also the sign of the humanitarian, the idealist, utopian society where all individuals are recognized as equal. And it's it's like that movie and that play Hair, like, it's like, but everybody thinks it's like, hippies dancing in the park. However, that is the promise of Aquarius. But Pluto, being the lord of the underworld, when something changes signs, we see the shadow of it first. So we're seeing the shadow now of equality, right? Like some people don't like that. And they don't want individuals. Maybe there's a lot of different factions of the world right now, and they want to maybe not have people be different. It's like here we should all be traditional or very much the same kind of thing. Mm-hmm. So when Pluto starts, so the promise of Pluto in Aquarius, and there's a 20-year cycle with Pluto in each sign, and it's a generational planet. So the age of Aquarius is about bringing forth a celebration of uniqueness and equality and change in a way where we're living more in unity, right? And so we're this 20 years that we're going through are going to get us there.
But it's just beginning.
But we're going through the shadow elements of it now.
Okay. But if you've heard Age of Aquarius in songs and movies, this is what they're talking about. We're kind of moving into that. All right. You also I know you write a lot of blogs, and people can follow you on your website, www.karisamuels.com. I know you're on Instagram. You're always, putting out what's happening and what we can learn from it. I I can tell you I'm a Cancer. That's about it. I know that I have some of those things. So it's always fascinating to me to learn all this. But you also say Saturn is playing a role right now as far as changing signs this month and what it means specifically as we're kind of moving into the summer.
So these outer planets are all about the society changing. Pluto is a generational planet. It's every 20 years. Saturn has a 2 to 3 year cycle. And Saturn is about the structures in our life. And Saturn is changing signs this month, and it will be in an Aries for almost 3 years after that. And when Saturn is in a sign, it really has an influence on the structures of our life. So Saturn is getting out of Pisces, which is about, actually that's very peace, love, and hippie as well, right? And spirituality. And that's part of why we saw for the past 2.5 years that Saturn's been in Pisces, we've seen more like structures around even psychedelic, not drug, but psychedelic aids to help, with mental health, and mental health has been more out in the open. Now Saturn is going into Aries, which is the first sign of the zodiac, and Aries is all about the pioneering spirit and having courage and entrepreneurial spirit and courage and leadership. So we're going to see more leaders emerge, more different types of leaders emerge. And because the world is changing, we're going to see more people start their own business or start their own thing. Like maybe they'll start their own community because we're in Pluto in Aquarius, right? Like people are going to be starting things because we have to start things, right? So this is how we see astrology mirroring what's happening here. It's like when things are falling apart, we have to start something new. And so for the next 3 years, we're going to see new structures emerging, new leaders emerging. And maybe you're feeling that within you, like, hey, I'm ready to like create a new foundation in my life.
Okay.
And I'm sure we're all kind of maybe feeling a little bit of that or a lot of that.
Yeah. So I think, for the folks who are thinking like, gosh, I was thinking of, maybe starting a business or writing a book or all of those things, the stars would align that could be a good time if you've been sitting on that dream.
Yeah, the universe is aligning to support you in that.
Okay. Let's talk about numerology. I know you do a lot with numerology as well, and we don't have to get into the complications, but I know we all have kind of our own number, our own life path number, but then the world or what we're going through the year 2025 has its own numerology, and that can affect all of us, right? So what is 2025 in numerology that we need to understand?
Well, numbers and planets are like, they're sister sciences, right? It's all about vibrations and the archetypes that these numbers represent. And 9 is what we are in right now. We get that with 2 plus 0 plus 2 plus 5 equals 9.
Okay.
It's
add the year.
Pretty easy.
Yeah, add the numbers of the year. Yes. Okay. And a so 9, is that like end of a cycle, beginning of a new?
It's actually, yeah, you're so smart. You should be on television. So 9 is the end, it's the last of the single digits. And so we're wrapping up things. We're wrapping up cycles, wrapping up karmic cycles. So if there's something that you've been working on as a person, like emotionally for many years, this is a time when things are going to get wrapped up. And the end of a cycle usually comes with some kind of big revelation or ending. It's like when something just happens without you wanting it to happen, it's like the universe will force some kind of closure upon something where you have to start anew, right?
Okay.
And oftentimes we'll have letting go or endings that happen without us wanting, or sometimes even better, if you're like, I'm ready to end this. Like maybe there's something in your life that you were once very passionate about, like in your career, and you're like, oh, I always loved doing this, and maybe now you don't anymore. And again, this is time to start new things. So we're having endings and beginnings. Okay. This year is actually the planets are going into new signs this year, but they're also retrograding back into their previous signs. They're going new signs and then previous signs. Next year is when everything really full on goes into their new signs, and next year is a one universal year. But this year is like an endings and beginnings kind of year, where it's like you're wrapping things up and you're getting an idea about the new things that you want to start. You're planting seeds, but maybe they're not fully coming to fruition. So you have to like end things first. So anything that's not feeling right for you, I encourage you to actively end them, because that's your spirit telling you that you're ready for new archetypes, new experiences to emerge in your life. So really, really, really listen to those feelings inside of you. If you're not really lit up about something, if you're not fully passionate, it's a sign that it's time to end something.
Okay, we're looking for 100% yes, otherwise it's a no. So we're going to talk more about navigating change, and I know you have some great practical tips for us as well. I want to take a moment and just hear from our sponsor, and we'll be right back with Kari Samuels, the intuitive counselor and happiness coach.
Struggling with gambling? Wheeler Health's Better Choice program offers personalized support and treatment to help you regain control. Visit WheelerHealth.org to learn more and take the first step towards recovery today.
And I'm back with Kari Samuels. She's an intuitive counselor and she's a happiness coach. She works with astrology and numerology to help people. And we're talking about the never before seen numbers of what we're all experiencing right now. So even if you're not an astrology person, I was out in the newsroom, they're like, ooh, what are you going to say? So, but this is something that we're all feeling, because you're saying this alignment that we're seeing right now is perhaps the stuff that the ancients predicted, but also nothing in our lifetime has looked the way it looks right now, according to astrologists.
Never. No, we've never experienced all the planets changing signs at the same time. I mean, it's never happened, and it's a lot at once. And I want to emphasize something about talking about that 9 universal year. It's a number that when that's active, it's an indication that we're meant to focus on spiritual and emotional things rather than material things. It's not, and I know that seems contradictory, because I was like, start a business or be entrepreneurial, but it's all about like what's in your heart. It's not a time when you can just say, okay, I'm going to do this simply for the material benefits of it.
Don't
you
do it just for the
actually
money.
have to really feel and be inspired and be motivated from the inside out. And I think that's hopefully what we're all feeling right now.
Well, what you're encouraging people to do is live from their heart. Take that extra moment and say,
Right.
what do I really want to do? What do I really need? And maybe ask for guidance of how to make that happen. Not necessarily go quit your 9 to 5 and say, well, the stars told me something good is happening, but really an internal inventory of what do I really want to be doing, and what's one step I can take toward that.
That's right. It's about taking those steps and planting the seeds. And that's what we were talking about. Saturn is about discipline and structure. Saturn is actually practical. I know it's weird talking about like stars that seem so out there, but Saturn is about discipline, responsibility, putting your feet on the ground, like the mountain goat. Saturn rules Capricorn. So it's like one step at a time to climb the mountain, right? You do it one step, one sure-footed step at a time. Well, climbing a mountain maybe doesn't feel very easy sometimes, but you do it in steps. And so right now you're being encouraged to feel what is motivating for you, feel what lights you up. Your body will tell you what's a yes. And we were talking about like, what are some practical steps? That is a practical steps, is to actually listen to your body. We have a tendency to focus on what everyone expects of us or what our responsibilities are and how that will affect everyone, without actually tuning in and paying attention to our own feelings or needs. And so I'm encouraging everyone to go inside, to feel inside your body and ask yourself, well, does this light me up? Does this motivate me? Does this still feel good for me? Even if it's scary,
Yeah. Well,
is something exciting you?
yes. And I can relate to that and everything. I have a daughter graduating. We're considering selling our house and getting and downsizing. There's a lot of like, wow, okay, we're doing some new things here in the station as far as just kind of really coming out there in the digital world, making sure it's easy for all of you at home to get us on multiple platforms. But in your blog, you have 3 action steps for May, which I love how you just tell us what to do, regardless of if you remember all the things about the planets. Number 1, express yourself fully. Number 2, try something new. And number 3, have fun. So we're not supposed to be scared. We're supposed to be having fun, because when we're having fun and we're in joy, we actually, it really aligns us with what we're meant to be doing.
Yeah, and I think people feel weird having joy when the world is like having so many destructive aspects of it. But things are ending, and it's through our joy that we can change the world. It's through our joy that we can find what is right for us. It's finding that sense of play and adventure and wonder as you move through your day, because it's that really childlike wonder that's going to help create a better world for you and your loved ones.
So here's a common question. I was actually talking with my producer, and he was saying, well, he's only ever married, or he's only ever dated and now married an Aquarius. He doesn't know anything else. And I'm a Cancer. So a lot of us talk about just our zodiac sign. How much does that really matter for how we express ourselves or our types? Or is it really like the whole chart? Because a lot of us don't understand the rest of it. We just know what our sun sign is.
Yeah, the whole chart is very important. However, I do find a lot of benefit in even just knowing your sun sign. I love that your producer is in his own age of Aquarius. But your sun sign, if you think about the sun, it's the center of our universe, and it's how you express yourself. And the sun sign in astrology represents the destiny that you're moving toward, and how really you're hardwired and you're emanating your light in the world. So it's important. However, when we look at like compatibility and all those other things, there's so much more. So I believe that all signs are compatible.
Okay. So it's not like, oh, you can't, you see this stuff on social media, this one can't be with this one. No, you just.
No. That is like my pet peeve.
Okay, all right.
What it is learning about people's astrology or numerology helps you understand how that person is hardwired. So you being born with the sun sign of Cancer means you express yourself through. Cancer is all about nurturing and home and family. And I know even there at the station, they're your family, right? Like, you really want to nurture and care for and protect your loved ones very fiercely. And so people need to know that about you, right?
Okay, yeah. And my mom's a Cancer, and my husband's mom's a Cancer. So I don't know what it says to him, but he's just surrounded by Cancers.
Because he likes very nurturing people who are very like focused on family. And your producer who's into Aquarius, who always finds themselves with Aquarians. Aquarians are very visionary and forward thinking and independent. So he probably values those qualities and is looking for some. Now, if you look in a birth chart, you can see someone's moon, which what motivates them emotionally, what needs to feed their soul, or their Venus or their Mars. So you can actually look in a birth chart and say, you're looking for this kind of person.
Yeah.
So I'm sure, if we looked at his chart, we'd see, oh, okay, he's got like maybe his moon in Aquarius or his Venus in Aquarius that would like want to attract that or value that. So you can see it in someone's chart, what they need, and knowing anything about someone, their numbers, their birth sign, their star sign, you can tell like what is motivating that person. It helps you understand. And opposites attract. So you can see in someone's birth chart what they need, right?
Yeah, so
And
no,
so,
I think it's so interesting, and I also want to shout out if you're someone like me who I actually don't have my full chart. I'm thinking I should get that, but like, if you don't,
yeah, I have to
Cam,
talk to you about that.
KariSamuels.com. Like, there's ways. If someone wanted to get a chart, how do they even do that?
Well, I actually have a free birth chart on my site.
Yeah.
If you go to Kari, it's Kari Samuels.com.
Oh, free birth
I have an
chart. Okay.
astrology section. You can learn about your sun sign. I have free guides, and I also have a numerology calculator where you can just plug in your birth date, and I will explain to you what that means in numerology as well, which I find actually numerology a little bit easier than
Yes.
astrology, even though it's
Yes.
less popular.
Yes, you did tell me it. So, okay, we only have a couple minutes left, but if I leave anyone with this, like, what is your guidance? Because I know people, I don't want people to walk away and think, okay, the world is ending. It's more, you see this as an opportunity. It is a lot of change, but
Yeah.
if you could leave people with something that you are a happiness coach that helps us kind of align with our best selves, given all the stuff that I'm a news reporter. Every day I look up, there's something crazy happening. But as we go
Yeah.
through this time, in summary, what do you want us to keep in mind, Kari?
That is, things are ending, that new beginnings are emerging, and it's important for you to focus on how you can create a better, more joyful life for yourself by really listening to yourself. Your heart will never lead you astray. And if you truly listen to your heart and take a chance on yourself to do new things, to try new things, to have fun and explore your creativity and new horizons, you will co-create a better world for yourself and your loved ones.
Yeah. Yeah, no, I think change can be scary. I guess us humans, we like things to be the same a lot. So just reminding ourselves that every ending is also a new beginning. So just navigating that. I love the word navigating. As you said, the sailors have been using the stars and using celestial navigation for thousands of years. We've never seen the planets like this before, which is why I wanted to have you on. But now everyone's warned that we're just in a year of change. So it's not you, it's the whole world.
It's the whole world, and you are a big part of the co-creation of what's coming.
Okay, Kari, shout out where people can find you real quick. KariSamuels.com. And also, what about on social media?
It's always Kari Samuels, so it's Kari Samuels, and so I'm easy to find if you know how to
Yeah.
spell my name.
Okay, perfect. And I love reading your blog and I love seeing your little videos. Follow her on YouTube, all that. Kari, we appreciate you taking your time to guide us through the numbers. Thank you so much.
Such a pleasure. Thank you.
Have a great day, everyone, and be well. And share this with your loved ones if you like this podcast. You can also subscribe and leave us a review. And also, if you're watching on WFSB Plus or the Wax, thank you for doing so. Have a great day and be well.
CURES is sponsored by Wheeler Health's Better Choice program. More at wheelerhealth.org.